Hello, my name's Anna Wilson, and I'm the author of A Place for Everything, My Mother, Autism and Me, published by HQ Stories on the 9th of July. It's a memoir. It's about my mother, Gillian, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 72. So she spent her whole life not realising the reason for why she felt so different from everyone else and for why she struggled so much in social situations. She also suffered an awful lot from anxiety and depression, and as her life went on, this became more and more debilitating. She ended up being sectioned under the Mental Health Act, and during this time it was incredibly difficult for me and my family trying to look after her, and obviously very, very difficult for Mum as well. And the only way for me to cope really as a writer was to write it all down in a journal at first, just for me, just to sort of cope. And then I started to write a blog for family and friends to try and explain what was happening and to reach out to other people perhaps who might be in a similar situation. After a while, people said, you ought to turn this into a book, you're a writer. I'm already a published children's writer, so the idea of writing a book was perhaps not such a difficult one, but this was quite a daunting book to write because it's such a personal story, and it presented its own challenges, shall we say, but it's had quite a good response so far, and my family and friends are very pleased I've done it. So I'm now going to read you a little bit from the last chapter. I hope you enjoy it too. This is a letter to my mum that I wrote at the end of the book, and it's really just, I hope, to show how much I loved her and how much we'd come to an understanding at the end. Dear Mum, you always said I wrote things better than I could ever express them aloud. Now that the glass box has been smashed, the witch's curse removed, this is what I've tried to do. To give sense and meaning, to find your story, mine too. The summer after you died was a gift. It lightened my spirit and had me running to my laptop to write and write and write. I've never been a morning person, something which infuriated you, but that summer I was up with the lark. I used the time to walk and write while the rest of the family dozed. The heat and the summer breeze dried a line of laundry in minutes. Now that you would have loved, particularly the lines of laundry, which I hung neatly in your honour. The heat in the middle of the day would have got you down, but a patch of shade, a glass of cold lemonade and a stack of books, you could have pretended you were back on a Cambridge lawn in May week. Except that you couldn't pretend, could you? And maybe now I see that as a strength, for I live too much in my head. What's the matter with you, you would ask, as I sat at the kitchen table, scowling at my thoughts and dreams. Anna is always dreaming, always thinking of the sublime, you said. It was meant as an insult. Better perhaps to take life at face value, to see it for what it is, fleeting, ugly, beautiful, violent. I have spent so much of the last 20 years looking forward, to the day you and I would see eye to eye, to the day my kids would grow and settle, to the day I would have more time, to the day I would write the book of which I could be the most proud, to the day I would be happy. There are no days like this, as you knew. There are only the days in which we sit and walk and breathe and sleep, and we must live them all, one breath at a time. I miss you. I miss Dad. I'm sad that you'll never see your grandchildren grow up, that you'll never come to visit us again, that you'll never read this and see how much we've come to understand you. As the wonderful children's writer Eva Ibbotson said, you can't stop the birds of sorrow from flying over your head, but you can stop them nesting in your hair. There's no doubt that they've changed me, those birds. For a while I felt so distracted by them that I lost sight of the person I'd always been. I felt cast adrift and without moorings, unsure of what to do next with life, as you must have felt when Carrie and I left home, and your father died and your mother became infirm. Perhaps, as a consequence, I've held on to the past, clinging to a raft that will ferry me back to a place I felt safe. Is that how you felt, Mum? We never really talked about it. Perhaps it's how you always felt, out of kilter, out of place. But I know now that there is a place for people like you in this world. We just have to learn how to accommodate you. As a friend said, we have to learn how to give you the access and understanding that you and others like you need. Because as you used to say, there is a place for everything. and everything in its place.